For my presentation, I interviewed Chef Ryan Vitoux, a chef/owner of Centered Chef. I'm going to start with a brief history of his culinary career. He started at Kendall College in the year 2004, after which he went over to France for a 6-month internship where he worked at 3 different restaurants. During his time over there, he worked 7 days a week. And in addition to invaluable culinary skills, he learned that he definitely did not want to work in restaurants for the rest of his life. So when he came back home to Chicago, he started working with his friend Jill, who was getting into the personal chef business. So together they formed Chef on Call Chicago. And in that business, initially Chef Ryan focused on the catering aspect, while Jill was more health food oriented. And it was during this time that Chef Ryan really started to get into healthy cooking. He wanted to get away from just like the calorie counting and into more ingredients based, kind of simple but very tasty health type food. So after about a year of operating out of Jill's apartment in Uptown, they finally were able to get their own storefront, and they hired on a few more people to help out. And so from 2006 to 2008, they experienced relative prosperity. But then in 2008, the market crashed and they started to lose a lot of clients. And eventually Jill left, and they ended up having to cut a lot of people out, and they actually had to move into Chef Ryan's house. They had to shut down the storefront. And so they went through a few lean years there until a businessman approached him about the branding that they had developed. And so at that point, he dedicated a few months to really laying down a business plan for what would become Centered Chef. And so they found the space in the West Loop that they thought would be perfect for this new location, but they had to develop. So they went around and got all sorts of investors, and were finally able to get together the money to start their own place. And so in September of 2011, the dream finally came true, and the Centered Chef officially moved in to their new space in the West Loop. So the space is a 2-story space with a completely convertible event space up top, and then there's a learning kitchen, commercial kitchen, and then a film kitchen down below. So a little bit about what Centered Chef does. Centered Chef is a catering company. They do learning classes, and they're an event space. There's also a film kitchen on site where they can do filming for mainly culinary applications. So a little bit about Chef Ryan's management style now, the main event. He really believes in definitely an open door policy. He believes in really getting to know and befriend his employees. When asked about his greatest enjoyment that he gets from management, he likes to be able to put his employees sort of on the fast track to success. He wants to kind of mentor them and help them learn from the mistakes that he made, so that they don't have to go through that same stuff. And that's kind of the kick that he gets out of management. His style has changed over the years. He's become more comfortable with himself. So the way he manages, he develops friendships with the people he works with, and this can be hard in a lot of situations when discipline becomes necessary. So what he said is, as he became more comfortable with himself, then this kind of became easier. So he's now able to go up to people and he can tell them that they've done something wrong, and he's much more comfortable in that, despite their friendship. His method for dealing with conflict, he likes to first, he goes into his office, definitely takes a deep breath, steps away from the situation, and then he'll pull the party aside and have a conversation with them in private, away from prying ears. As far as talent recruitment goes, he says that he hasn't had any problems with this. A centered chef is the kind of business that kind of attracts passionate people. For example, I think just talking to Chef Ryan, you can tell he believes in the goal of promoting wellness and helping people with different food needs. And by talking to him, you can tell that he's passionate about this. And so when people come into the space, they see that, and they definitely want to work for him. And so this has been a huge help in bringing good people into the organization. And he likes to actually bring people in to meet them. He's got a good network with different culinary schools and dietetic schools, because they get a lot of dietetic interns in. And so he develops a good relationship with the career counselors at these places, and so they're able to guide people that they think would fit into the culture at Centered Chef to Ryan, and so they can meet and hook up that way. The way he likes to deal with stress is he likes to step away from the situation, step into the office, clear his head, really get a chance to think away from the chaos of the kitchen, and then so he can step back in later with a clear plan and really resolve the stressor at hand. So in conclusion, I think Chef Ryan is really a very casual type manager. He definitely likes to lead by example as opposed to more of a dictatorship method. And I think he's had a very unique career. The businesses he's been involved in are very different. There's not really anything like them out right now, at least not in the Chicago area. And so I think this alone gives him kind of a unique perspective on management that